right, this is double two times. We on Blacshēp podcast. I'm here with my big brother, one of my mentors. I'll let him introduce himself and his new establishment here. I appreciate the invitation.
Mm-hmm. You already, man. Yep. Councilman Richard Wyatt, and running for mayor here in the city of Plainfield. How long have I known you first? Yeah, let's get on that.
Kid, man. I was a kid. Hold on. Whose show is this, man? Whose show is this here?
It's a hostile takeover.
So look, you know, I was young. I was a teenager. You was still a teenager.
Yeah,
I think y'all was graduating when I met y'all. Y'all was either seniors. I was like in middle school. I was like fresh from out of town. I was like real new here. And y'all could tell. I was seeing y'all hang out. And we just looked up to y'all because y'all was cool. You know what I mean? And, you know, I was a young troublemaker and not necessarily just a bad kid. I just was getting in trouble because I was bored. And I didn't think you could be cool without trouble.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, they don't even get in trouble. They got like good fit, like, everything good. Like they friends, the group, and it changed my perspective. So I always I always say that when I see y'all and your friends. So
yeah, no, definitely. And one of the things that I really appreciate about you, like for us it was entertainment at first, but we looked at you and like, he got so much potential. Yeah. Right. So now like to sit back and watch you have this type of platform, the things that you're doing, and it's like, we kind of knew this back in the day that you would be doing these type of things, groundbreaking.
I wish I knew.
Podcast, you know what I'm saying?
I wish I didn't know, man. You know, sometimes it takes people like yourself and others, you know, along my journey to tell you about yourself and tell you that you're talented, tell you that you pretty good at what you do, you know, and a lot of kids need to hear that more often. Like you said, like mentors and big brothers, like that's what we known for.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of years. I don't even know. Do you want me to say the amount of years on here? I don't know if you want
it's over 20. Yeah, it's over 20.
Over 20. I'm about to have my 20-year high school reunion.
Yeah. I just had mine, so that's how I know it's over 20.
Oh, man. Yeah, so, Plainfield. Let's get into Plainfield, you know. So that's over 20 years ago. Plainfield. What's up? Like, how you feel about Plainfield? Y'all being champions right now. You always representing. You always did. So how you feel about Plainfield as a community? Like, you know, you about to be, you trying to be mayor, so it's like big. Like, how you really feel about your city?
Man, this city, so for me, this is not just a place where I live. Like, this is who I am. So when people say, like, you know, it's in my blood, like, that's how I really feel about Plainfield. So Plainfield, you know, you spoke about the championship, so that was more than just basketball. Like, that was a time to unite everybody, right? So the momentum, everybody coming to the games. And these is kids that I done mentored from when they was yay high. Yes, and now to see them on this stage, and the thing that I love about the basketball team is the humility. Right?
Some good kids.
Yeah, good kids, man. Very humble, but they're products of Plainfield. So, and when you look at Plainfield, a lot of people on the outside, they may have, you know, different perspectives and opinions. But, you know, when you're from here, you know what Plainfield is all about. We produce so many great people in the world who has done life-changing things right here from the city. And, you know, I know later on we'll touch on some of those topics, but Plainfield, it's a great place, man. We have so much potential, and I truly, truly love this city, man.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Like I was saying, I got my topics. I said I know Riddy the mayor, the mayor, soon to be mayor, future mayor. But I know Riddy the mentor. You feel what I'm saying? Like Riddy that always good with the kids. You know, I don't personally like know your pops, but I always be hearing like about your pops. And I know you talk about your pops a lot. I know your pops used to have parties, and I know you got parties. So I've always heard about your pops, and I might have met him when we was younger a few times, but coming to the house, but like. Mentor, did you get that from your father? Like, and that, how you go about your?
Yeah, so I got it from actually both sides, my mother and my father, right? So my father has so many people that I run into, and they be like, "Your father gave me my first job. Yeah, he changed my life. Like I was in the streets, I was doing this, and he gave me an opportunity, and he was on me." My father then drove people to college way out of state.
Wow,
people that he just met. So to hear those stories growing up. And watching, you know, how my father worked hard for people and kind of would give people the shirt up their back. Like, and then my mother, the same way. So my mother, she's,
that's good.
No matter what anybody needs, she's willing to do. So having that from both sides, I says, you know what, let me take this a step further and organize it. So that's when we started GMC, Gentlemen Making Changes. And like for me growing up, like a lot of me and my friends, we knew we wanted to be successful. but we didn't know exactly what we wanted to do.
Yep.
Right. So we said, you know what, let's create this organization where we exposing kids to different careers, different things, positivity.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
And our motto is change what they see and it change what they'll be.
Absolutely.
Right. So imagine
that's a good motto.
Yeah, think about that, right?
That's a great motto.
So if you see the streets is always open arms, they're ready to embrace you, right?
Absolutely.
So as people, we have to fight harder and do much more to combat those things.
Absolutely.
So that was one of the reasons.
You have to do the opposite.
You know what? Yeah. So it's like
just as hard.
Mentoring. Yeah.
Exactly. So being the longtime resident and your family is how deep does your family go, like in Plainfield? Like how is that?
Oh yeah, so
you're like, oh yeah, that's a good go back.
Yeah, they go back. Yeah, so God willing, my grandmother would be 100 years old.
Wow.
Born and raised right here in Plainfield.
Born and raised in Plainfield, 100 years. Wow.
Yeah, so she raised her kids, my father and his siblings, right in the projects.
Wow.
Today as Joanne Hollis.
Yeah.
You know, so 100 years.
Damn.
City right here in Plainfield. So that's how far deep the roots go. So
Safe for
she
play.
raised them. Yeah, she raised them in the 4th Ward. My mother moved from Baltimore right to those projects.
So that's why you was down in Morgan State.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, they tell me about you down there too, man.
Shout out to Mayor Scott.
Yeah, word.
Yeah. But no, so she moved from Baltimore to Plainfield in the projects. That's where they met.
Yeah.
Fast forward, 1986, born Millenburg Hospital, which is no longer here in Plainfield. But yeah, we go back. Man. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. We know that you like a real staple in the community in Plainfield. That's like you explain your family also. But like, why run for mayor? Like, why? We know you do well as a councilman. I always see you. I always share your stuff because I love seeing what you do. You know, I wish I could be more hands on if I ain't running around myself. But when I ain't running around, I would love to run around with you. But why run for mayor? Why go, from councilman to mayor? Is there like a time limit on it, or you just like, the time is like, what is it?
Yeah, so that's a great question right there. And the real reason is, and I'll start with this. Today it's the 4th, right? April 4th.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the same day that MLK was assassinated, right? So if you look back in the history in the past, people looked at him and they're like, okay, he's radical, he's this, he's that, right? So we needed that at that time. So if you've known me since 20 plus years,
yeah,
politics was never in my future.
Not at all.
So what kind of fueled me to run for mayor is the people, right? So being born and raised here, at the ebbs and flows of this city right here in Plainfield, you watching those things and it's like, okay. And then it's just past administration, 12 years, we've had the same mayor, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at that and it's just like, okay, if everybody was happy, people want to know it really as running for mayor.
Absolutely.
Right? So this campaign would just be like, good job, young man.
Yeah.
But why are you doing that? Yeah. But people are taking it serious because people are ready for a change.
Absolutely.
Right? So we looking at on a national level, you got, the president, every day he's signing executive orders and doing different things. But we have challenges right here on a local level as well.
Yeah.
And it's like we got to roll up our sleeves so the people are like, it's time for a change.
It's time to shake the tables.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that. Let's talk about like the last election because I know, I like you said, I didn't expect you to be in politics. So when we talked about it last time, you was like, yo, we was almost there. Like we ain't have close to the money that they have. And so we was discussing why, and you were saying the community, you were saying the people, you were saying change. So I brought up the last election, how, I didn't really know you for politics, but when I bumped into you and when we was discussing it, you were saying how close you were with not equal to the amount of money that they your running mates had, but yeah, like the last election, like get into that and how close you were and what expectations this time.
Okay, yeah, and just before I get into that, I just want to also add, so one of the reasons why I am running, so of course it's always the people,
yeah,
right? So as I stated, we had 12 years of the same leadership, and you start to realize and recognize that sometimes people get too big, right? And they lose common touch with the people. So we see what leadership looks like when they don't listen to the people. And Plainfield deserves much better than that. So that's one of the main reasons that I'm running, because the people are telling you, if you listen, people will tell you, this is what I need. These are our concerns. And as a leader, you're supposed to say, okay, I can do this. Be transparent throughout the whole process, but let them know, okay, I can do this. I can guide you through these difficult times. I can provide this. That hasn't been happening because the leadership doesn't listen. So 4 years ago, came up short 269 votes.
That's nothing.
I was outspent 14-1. 4 people running. So I was looked at as young guy with no money, didn't really have a chance. But boots on the ground, getting out, connecting with the people, knocking on the doors. And people see me coaching football, basketball, baseball.
They know you for the people.
Yeah. So and that's not for me, this is not let me do this for performative reasons. Like, this is really who I am.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I live here, I have 3 children that I raised right here in the city as well. And I teach them that as well. It's like, you know what? We have to give back to our community. So unity is in there.
Yep.
So we have to always come together. You have to create and make friends, make bonds with people in the city. And that's how you truly make the city better. But, came up short. It was 4 people running at that time, 269 votes. Learned a lot about myself, about the city. So this time, looking forward, it's just like, okay, I know what I need to do differently. But now it's just time for a change, and people, they're yearning for it. So that's why, our slogan is, the time is now.
The time is now. Let's talk about this 36% tax increase by the BOE. That's a little over my head. So let's try to put it in layman's terms for people that might not understand, and then and you can elaborate for the people that's hip and do understand.
Yeah. So, and before I go into the weeds of it all, just to be clear, like, I'm not on the Plainfield Board of Education. Like, I've served my time there. I was elected by the people to serve in that position. I stepped away from that. Now I'm serving as my role as a councilman. Right. So my wife, however, she is on the Plainfield Board of Education.
Shout out to the wife.
Also elected by the people.
How?
So anybody that knows my wife knows that
she don't play.
Yeah, she don't play. She has her own voice, her own mind. So to hear the stories and hear people say that she's being controlled, people that say that, they don't know how that.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, so
she run the show.
Yeah, that's her.
yeah,
that's her, and that's something that we respect each other, and that's her work on that side. This is my work on this side. Yeah,
so you getting back to what you getting. You gonna letting the wife handle her business. Yeah, you know what I mean? Everybody, everybody pull away. Everybody do what they got to do to contribute to the goals of the community, of the family.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And that's the part that's also missed that I really don't understand and I dislike. Because it's like people, they use that to attack instead of looking and saying, these are a husband and a wife
rocking together,
public servants, give their lives to this community. You know how many meetings that she has? She's away right now at a conference and in Atlanta. She's in Atlanta at a conference. But the constant meetings, it's a lot. It's a lot on both.
It's a lot of events. It's a lot on the family.
And we got 3 kids.
The whole family feel it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because working for it's a family job. Like, from the papa beds to the baby beds. Like, everybody gotta do something, whether it's charity, whether it's coaching or mentoring kids, whether the wife, she just feeding the kids or feeding the homeless or clothing or nurturing to the people, or at the board of education, making sure the kids get the education they need, the proper things they like. That's really what's important. But let's go back to the 36% thing. But I'm glad you touched on that. That was a beautiful moment.
I just wanted to clear that up. So
just in case anybody got any problem, any discrepancies, you understand what's going on out here.
Yeah. Send an email to Hane Wyatt at Plainfield Board of Education, not Richard Wyatt.
Yeah.
But touching on that, so anytime I can show up for the youth and the young scholars in the city, I do. Right. So that day we actually had to leave. So we had some new police officers getting sworn in. Some of the officers were getting promoted. So I said, you know what? They were also honoring a basketball team. So that's how hectic our lives are. It's like, you got to be here and do this. I have to be here and do this. But I really need to be present here because I want to be.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? I'm going to try to create magic. So I went to her meeting. They honoring the basketball team for winning the championship. Once again, Plainfield is the state champions.
State champions.
Yeah.
How long was the last one?
what was it, 2011?
Okay.
Yeah,
It's a little stretch.
12, one of them, yeah. But, you know, so went there for that, ran to go see the police officers get sworn in, and the other ones get promoted, came back to the meeting because they're doing their budget presentation. So I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the screen, and they're like, you know what? We just purchased this building. We about to create a community center. We bringing back all the vocational training. So how many times have you heard college isn't for everybody, right?
Of course.
So people say that, and Plainfield has so much talent, but we don't have the right resources and programs to cultivate that talent.
Not yet.
Right?
Not yet.
So you have people that strive to do it, and just let you know and be tapping on your shoulder as well. So you could be a mentor, because what you have right here, the setup that you have is amazing, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You'll be surprised how many people are like, you know what? I want to get into this right
Absolutely.
here, this lane right here.
Absolutely. So, you know, if anybody out there want to learn, you know, any of the kids, even adults, it ain't nothing for you to reach out to me. You can reach out to Riddy, and we afford you to the right people. You know, we gotta be hands on ourselves sometimes, you know. Yeah. And I learned that from you and amongst other people along my journey. That's how you pay it forward, man. Like, you know, I ain't doing this for me. Mm-hmm. You know, we doing this for the people, for the community, give everybody a voice. You know, I could be as loud as I want to, you know what I mean? But, you know, some people that don't really got a voice or don't get heard, but have a voice, you know what I mean?
Well, I'm not trying to deflect. I know most politicians do that, right? So we could have pivoted right there. Let's get right back to the 36%.
Yeah, it's on you.
So talking about the vocational training, they're bringing back culinary arts, state of the arts kitchen, so many different programs. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking, I'm like, the vision that the administration has, that the board has. And it's like, when you look at the Plainfield Public School District, many people complain and say, oh, Plainfield is great, but the school system isn't, right? So they say, oh, I go on Zillow and the houses are really nice, but the schools are ranked at, what is it, like a D or 4, number 4, however they do it. So when you start looking at those things, it's like, okay, let's roll up our sleeves and let's change that narrative, right? So we all have been working hard at changing the school system, working with the young scholars after school, mentoring them, doing those things, the things that's happening inside the building. But then you have an administration and a board working together and say, here's the problem. This is how we stop the bleeding. And this is how we move forward. And so I'm sitting there looking at the screen and I'm just like, wow, like I wish that I had that type of leadership when I was younger.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm thinking about all the young scholars that I mentor, coach, my kids' friends. And I'm just like, it's a blessing to have that type of leadership. So I see it there, but then I see everybody, all the administrators, the board, everybody's just sitting there like, it's been a long meeting. Everybody been working hard, crunching numbers, working on this. But I'm looking at the presentation. I'm like, this needs to be celebrated. Like they showing you, this is the blueprint to change the narrative and make Plainfield Public Schools a great school system. So I'm talking about celebrating that. So then I had to leave the meeting again. So then I read an article and it's just like, Wyatt celebrates a tax hike going on from the school district. So I read it, you know, shout out to David Rutherford. He is the Tap Into writer. Went to school with us as well. Great writer, awesome writer. So I read the article and was just like, wow, you know, that wasn't my intention, but I can only control what I say and what I do. So getting to the taxes, that's the preliminary budget, right? So a preliminary budget is pretty much like, okay, this is what we want to do. We have 45 days from this time to now work on the budget. So if we need to make cuts, if it's things that you don't like, and the people that are in position, they listen to the community. Yeah. So they're not there like past administration to other people just saying like, this is what we're doing. We don't care about your complaints. We're not listening to anything that you say. No, they really listen. Yeah. So the preliminary budget went through, the articles went out, and now the incumbent has been trying to harp on that, like, Wyatt wants to do this. I have nothing to do with the Plainfield Board of Education. Yeah. Besides me being a father of 3 children and my wife.
And a husband.
Being on the Plainfield Board of Education. Besides that, I don't make a vote. I don't go there to try to sway votes. You can ask any of the people in leadership. They never got a phone call from me, never a meeting, a sit down and say, hey, we need to vote like this.
Think influence like just like kind of maybe like scare people a little bit, or just because of the connection, I think people see that type of strength as, you know, it's got a fear, you know. They fear
it's fear, but
that connection, that strength, that family, that unity, that ain't got really nothing to do. Like you said, it's 2 different minds, you know. But
that's 2 different minds. But my leadership style has always been I need to give you room to be you.
To grow.
Right? So it's never like, oh, I would do it this way. You need to follow me directly, right? So it's like,
I don't think she would allow it anyway.
Not her.
So look, let's talk about the future of Queen City. You know, P-Funk, Plainfield. Like what's the future? You know, under Riddy regime, as Riddy has made. What's the future of Plainfield?
So the future of Plainfield is, just imagine, right? So you have creatives, right? Plainfield, like I said before, has so much talent. We never had the resources and programs or hubs to really cultivate that talent, right? So earlier we were speaking about now, like, okay, the creatives, right? So I meet creatives all the time. They're like, oh, it's nothing for us here in the city. That's something that we have to change, right?
Absolutely.
So our downtown needs to be a vibrant downtown.
Absolutely.
Right. So when I ask people all the time in the city of Plainfield, I'm like, it's date night, where you going? They start naming other towns.
Yep.
I say, hey, where you grocery shop at? They start naming other towns.
Yep.
Plainfield
has a lot of beautiful stuff here.
Yeah. The history of Plainfield has a rich history. Under this current administration in these times, it hasn't been that.
It's changed a lot since those years when I came, you know. I love seeing a diverse community. You know, but Plainfield was a African American city where people flourish. Like, I've seen a lot of African Americans that I haven't seen. You know, that from when I first came, like it was beautiful, and it's still beautiful. And I think that the communities need to mesh a little better instead of being so separated. It's not like beef or anything, but I think everybody in their own world. Yeah, and we all more beautiful together.
Yeah. Like we can't, as a people, on a national level, and use phrases like DEI and be like, oh, DEI, they're getting rid of DEI. We upset. We're not going to go to Target if we're not really living that, right? So when you look at Plainfield, diversity, equity, and inclusion, like you just said, too much separation in a small city, the 6 square miles. Too much separation. So, and like you said, back in the day when you said when you were coming up, the black people used to thrive, but Plainfield needs to be a city where everybody thrives.
Yep.
Right. So it has to be something for everybody.
That's why I don't knock it. And a lot of the people work hard, so you can't really get mad at people that work hard, especially they coming from nothing to something, just like we are here. You know, but we got to find a way for both communities to do it together, because I feel like it'd be way bigger and better together as a big community than two communities inside of a small community. You know what I'm saying? So,
but people thrive off of being divided, right? So if everybody's divided, then it's easier for me to push my agenda and get forward what I need to, whatever agenda that I'm trying to push. Because everybody's not on one accord.
It's a lot of division.
Yeah, people are not having these conversations. Right?
Uncomfortable conversations, man. That's what we do at Blacshēp Podcast. We just like to have conversations that people don't have, not to stir up controversy, but to get through it. Yeah. How are we going to have these conversations? How are we going to improve or have a different future for the city of Plainfield if people can't discuss what they feel, or if people can't give their perspective of what they're going through? Or, you know, I just feel like it has to be said. Even if somebody else has to elaborate more, at least somebody said it, brought it to the table. Now let's get to it. You know, change.
Yeah. And that's something you just touched on, something that really resonates with me. So as a product of Plainfield, because I have different ideas, right, and a different vision for the city, people really treat me like they hate me.
I think, you know what I also think? I think, and this go for probably yourself and many others, when you get a lot of love, you're going to get a lot of hate too. Yeah. And the hate comes from the people. It comes with it. And that's something I'm learning to deal with. I didn't understand. I ain't never get hate before, because I'm like, I didn't hate. They hating on me. What I got to hate on? You know, but because I couldn't see from their perspective what they saw in me. Like we was talking earlier. So now that I see, okay, I got a little light. I understand why you hating now. Now, you know, doesn't mean I got to be, give you that same energy back, but I'm aware. You know, we just gotta recognize it and still be humble through the hate and still spread the love even through the hate. And that, you know, that's a little hard. You know what I mean?
But never dim your light for anybody, man.
Don't dim your light. Don't stop the show. You know, keep going, keep pushing. You know, and that goes for the future mayor of Plainfield too. He got to keep going. He got to be strong. Got to keep pushing for his family, for his wife, for the kids, for you know, this politics could get ugly, man. Like I seen some stuff. I don't even want to say it on camera because you know, it's that season and it's still going on. We don't want to open a can of worms on nobody, but it could get, you know, dirty because people want to win. You know, people want their perspective. People want their way. You know, but you know, we for the people. You know, and I say we, and I mean myself and Riddy. You know what I mean?
And you just touched on something that needs to change, right? So how ugly it gets, right? So because you have a difference of opinion, people are like, you know what? Let's try to dirty this name up as much as possible. Let's make stuff up. Let's throw whatever at this person and whatever sticks, we're going to go with. So in politics, a lot of times you're guilty by headlines, right? So people will come out and say, oh, this person did this, they did that. So you may not know me as well. People don't know me 20 plus years like you. So somebody may read the article and be
and
like,
then believe what they say.
Wow, I really like Wyatt, but did you see this?
Yeah.
And not realizing like, that's politics. Yeah. Like, that's something that needs to change. And, it's a dirty game, but you know what? I'm from Plainfield to Field, so
man, you tough, man.
you tough, right?
You tough, right? So let's talk about like the youth, man. Like the youth has been something real special to me, especially in these last couple months. It was like one of my things, one of my goals and just to work with the youth, because I was once a troubled youth. I was once a youth that was misguided or just didn't have no guidance at all. And I got just enough to save me, just enough to bring me right here. I still was over here, but I still I had understanding of what I wanted and what I seen around me, even if it wasn't exactly for me at the time. I want to make sure I don't see kids like that. I don't want to see kids confused and lost. They don't know where they got to go follow somebody in the streets. Like, I ran the streets to be a man. I had to go get my, that's the only reason, for thrill, for just when I could have, found a different route if I had a little more guidance, if I had somebody grab me up a little more. So that's what I try to do. I try to, even with my kids, I try to implement things that I didn't get. I make sure my kids get those things, The youth is very important. As you know, I feel, I ran with a lot of guys older than me. So I kind of missed a lot of my youth, and I just speeding. So I'm watching these kids and I'm watching what they go through. And I just like, yo, damn, I could, like you said, that could have been you. I seen this for you as a young age. I didn't see it for me. I really think it's important that, especially men, we go outside, we go grab them kids up, we be on them, we, whether it's discipline, whatever you want to call it, taking them out to the field trips, whether it's 2 kids or 20. I think it's necessary for men in all communities to do that, and I don't see that. Even when I see you out, you see guys like yourself, guys like me, and I say me, like, I might have been to prison or you might have a past, man, I don't really be seeing them step into that family mode ever. I see them, they go to prison, use a drug dealer, use a gang member, but you never come back to the man, the family man, or you never was there. I always had a good family, whether I ripped and ran the streets, I always had a good family. And I knew what I wanted for my children, and I knew what I wanted for myself. Once I figured out, I touched that fire, I ain't going to go back down. It's not for me.
Yeah, it's not. You'll put your hand on the top, but you ain't going to touch it again.
I ain't going to touch it again. And I'm never going to allow my kids to touch it. Now, if they end up touching the flame on their own, that mean they went against everything I taught them, all on their back, and they fought to go there. There's nothing I could do about it, but guide them in a different way. My kids will never know my past, and that's what I think a lot of men, in the community need to, shake that past, clean that face up for the family, become a family and a community man,
Let me ask you a question. You said they'll never know your past. Is it they won't go through that, or you won't share with
No,
them
I
those
think
things?
my kids gonna be like, yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who, you?
Yeah, no. So
I'm too far removed now. Like, I came home from prison. It's almost gonna be 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the kids. They 5. They be 5 this year. The Tyler's my oldest. She be 13.
Mm-hmm.
So she was up at the gym. She probably don't. She don't respect my gangster, man. She don't respect. They be like, whatever. What's up? Give me some money. Like, we don't want to hear all the old school stuff. But I think through the family, the grandparents, it's like how you get that. Look at him. Look at my little brother.
Yeah.
Look, he doing good. So I get that from the grandparents. Even if the mothers don't give me my little love, the grandparents respect it, and the kids respect it. And that's the sacred. That's the elders are sacred, and the babies are sacred. And that's really what mattered to me, man. Like that the kids understand, and that the elders before see what I'm trying to do. You know what I mean? Because that's why I got the root of that's what I got from them, from the elders in my family, and I stick to that with my own little twist added to it.
Yeah, for sure. So I would like to ask you to think about this, right? Share your story.
Yeah.
Right? So many of times people you hear like, oh, don't touch the stove is hot, and people are like, you know what, I'm gonna touch it anyway. So you have some people that learn from other people's mistakes, right? So you are who you are today because of
My
your story.
Yep. It's definitely true. I'm a guy of self-awareness and self-improvement. Even stuff that we picking up, we learning, we doing today, it might not be done the same way next time because it's just improvement. I self-reflect. I understand why I did the things I did, and I'm accountable for everything. Because it comes with consequences and repercussions, and from those consequences and repercussions, I learned my lesson. Sometimes the prison might not even teach you a lesson. Sometimes it might be a crackhead on the street. I tell people this story. I remember I got jumped. I was jumped in the gang, whatever. Right, my whole face was all beat up, and I was selling crack. Excuse this story. It's a little, but it's the truth. It's the truth.
It's the truth. Yeah.
So I was selling crack. And the lady said, "What happened to your face?" And she was probably one of my favorite crackheads, right? But I ain't like how she was joking on me. It was summertime, got a hoodie high my face. So I'm like, "You want the crack or not, lady?" And she said, "No." Her whole face changed. She disappeared. She came back later with some food, some. It might have been A&D. I didn't know what it was at the time. I'm like, "Lady, I'm not letting you touch my face." She said, "I'm a mother," and she wasn't a crackhead no more. She wasn't the lady I seen. She was a nurturing mother who gave me some food and put the A&D ointment, whatever it was, on my face. Some type of concoction because it made my face look good by the next day. So she had to mix it up. So she was old school. So she took real good care of me, and I never seen her again.
Wow.
So at that moment, we both had an epiphany. She had an epiphany. Whether she stopped doing drugs or just stopped coming to that block, the cops stopped coming to see me, and I had an epiphany that I ain't really want to sell drugs no more. Sell crack or stand on the corner no more. And why did she even? It was almost like an angel moment. Like, why did she even take the time? And I didn't even want to hear it. I was stubborn. I was mad. It just made me see something different, and I get a lot of that throughout my life, many different places. And people say that's like a little angel moment, but it's the real moments, like you say. It's the authenticity. It's somebody saying, "You know what? I'm just gonna be real. Forget all this forget all this fake stuff.
Let's be straight.
I'm gonna be straight real with you. I'm pouring my." I don't know what it is. Like a lot of people do that with me too.
Yeah, man. So you never know the situations or the people that God will send to you to give you a message, right?
Yeah.
And that if you start looking at it from that aspect, and it's just like that story you just said. Like for me, it's just like that's divine intervention right there.
It's crazy, man. I don't got a problem talking about my past because I've really changed and I really learned. Like you said, I learned from that. I learned going to prison. I had a different type of discipline I never had before. I needed a certain type of discipline. Like, who could discipline you at that level as a grown man? You know what I mean? So
do you go and talk to the youth about tell your story? Do you share your story?
We gonna be getting into that. Like, it's a lot. This podcast stuff opened up a lot of things. I started off as a rapper, then you start selling merchandise and clothing, and then that's when you take the illegal business and you turn it into a legal business. So of course I want to talk to the kids. I just start working with the kids, the youth. So, you know, as it's hard as a felon, so you gotta, you know, really go through the loopholes. You gotta make sure you can get through whatever organizations, or sometimes the people like Raz hires felons, and that's one of his things. People say, "Oh, he hires felons." He does. How do you think who gonna get to the youth? Yeah, you know, if some of these felons, you know,
deserves a second chance, some a third chance.
You feel what I'm saying? So, and to be honest, when we sit on the youth, that's who the youth really bond with. They bond with the people not too different in age. You know, they bond with the people that they see relate to close to the generation that they're in. Even with the music and all that stuff, you know, it kind of relates to the crime in the streets. It relates to trends and all that stuff. So if you're not tapped in with the youth, you don't know what's going on. So that's my point of being tapped in with the youth, trying to talk to them, trying to get them into creative spaces. So if Plainfield can have a hub or a community center, you know, Plainfield is a little divided with the sides, but I'm sure, you know, and we could get something where everybody will come, man. It'd be safely and secure, a place where, you know, it might even bring everybody together. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So we use vehicles like that to unite people and bring them together, and I think that will definitely happen. And I also would love to invite you to come and speak to the youth
I appreciate that.
So we take 40 young males, and they would love to hear your story.
Yeah,
right? And I share this all the time with people, and I say I've been in places where I speak to people. I come on the stage and we would love to have you, and I look in the crowd, and my story may resonate with 5 to 10 people out of 60.
That's real.
You come tell your story,
it might resonate with.
They'll be leaned in,
right?
Because a lot of them is like, you know what, I'm flirting with that.
Even if they're not into it, it's peer pressure about it,
or curiosity.
Like I told you, thrill, trying to be a man, not having no masculinity around. That's all it was. I can admit I had all estrogen around me. I had to get some masculinity, so I went out and found it. You know, and that's probably a problem for a lot of young males. You know what I mean? So I would love to come talk to the youth. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be a lot more, you know, engagements and stuff we got going on. And we gonna get it. So I can't wait, man. Whatever you need, you know, I always tell you whatever you need, I'm with you, because I see what people do positive, and I love being a part of the community. I love because it resonates with the people. When people gonna see me with Riddy, I'm like, oh, Double with Riddy. But you ain't even know Double was with Riddy for a long time, man. You know what I'm saying? And Riddy was with Double. And I always appreciate
it's gonna be the reverse effect.
It's gonna be, I always appreciate having people
Riddy
in
with
good
Double?
places.
Let me follow. Yeah. Who is this I am Riddy?
Listen, you got people in good places, man. You know, future mayor of Plainfield. Like I like to say, speaking into existence, because we were so close last time. Let's, you know, we ain't even gonna say we ain't gonna get it this time, but it's coming. It's the future is inevitable, you know, especially when you doing the work and you on the ground. And I don't mind doing the work, so I appreciate you inviting me out. We gonna get on the ground. We gonna do some work. We got a few more other topics. Let's talk about P-Funk, like funk and like George Clinton. Like that's something that, you know, I ain't never really talk about, but it's, you know, funk was created in Plainfield. Is that like true? Serious?
Yeah. Well, you know, originally he's from Newark.
Okay, yeah. So they was originally from Newark.
He's from Newark.
He's from Newark.
Yeah, George Clinton's from Newark. His barbershop was in Plainfield.
Okay.
So the band, everybody they got together
was out here
in Plainfield.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, we spoke about my father earlier. So my father used to deliver beer. He was deliver beer and liquor. Yeah. So he would deliver to the barbershop all the time. Yeah. So and they had, it was probably 30, 40 people in the band. Wow. So he knows.
That's probably was a time. That probably was a time. That's probably a party. He the party man. Yeah. Like that, man. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, shout out to your pops.
Yeah, yep. So, but to have that P-Funk come right here in the city of Plainfield, it just shows who we are, man. Like, it just shows the talent that we have, and you know, and we did name the street Parliament Funk.
Yeah, I seen that. How recent is that?
That was 4 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
It was 4 years ago.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, yep. So, But you know, he's a person that, you know, me being a part of Omega Psi Phi, like Atomic Dog, is that's our song, you know, unofficially. But he is also now a fraternity brother as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Shout out to that.
Yeah, but
fraternities, man. Like fraternities are dope. They are really dope, man. Like that's something I wish I could have experienced. That type of brotherhood is beautiful. Like I went to the colleges. I ain't go to class all the time, but you know, I went to college and I enjoyed the experience. I used to be all over Morgan State, Bowie State, UDC, Howard, all my family down there. I was outside. I was running around there for years on the Black College tour. I had fun, you know. I never got to see, you know, and like college, a bunch of unique, different kids. They different but the same. You realize how much of the same you are, you know, even though you dress different, even though you talk different, we all the same. Like how Baltimore, Philly, Brooklyn, Newark, you know, it's beautiful.
Even the difference between New York and Jersey. All right.
It's almost the same now. Like, do you see? Like, it's a lot of New Yorkers in Jersey. And Plainfield, too. You see that? What's going on with that? They moving in, man. Like, it's cheaper out here. The transportation is immaculate. Plainfield transportation is beautiful. You get anywhere in Plainfield transportation. So, I mean, I understand it, but, you know, we flooded already.
Yeah, we are, yep. But, yeah, no, so you was talking about, like, George Clinton. And, like, you know, so much talent.
You met him?
Yeah.
Man, you gotta plug me in, man. I want to shake his hand too, man.
Yeah. I had actually in 2011, I had the opportunity to perform with him at the Apollo.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was my first time being at the Apollo, but Atomic Dog. So when he was performing that,
so
we had the
he was going crazy,
yeah. You know, I was going crazy. That was a younger me, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Plainfield is talent all over Plainfield, and we just have to make sure that we cultivate in this talent and give people the spaces and the resources to do it, because George Clinton did it out the barbershop and late nights and, you know, the band getting together. We had that same type of talent today. It's just nobody really tapping into it.
Yeah.
And, you know, giving them their just due and, you know, giving them things that they need to be successful. So that's something that
I like your idea about, like, you know, like even like the community type thing, recreational activities for these kids, you know, for everybody. I'm with all that. So when that dude come around, sign me up, man.
Sign you up for a jam session too, man.
Yeah.
On the camera, we got some artists as well.
Yeah. We gonna get
some jam sessions.
We gonna get a lot of things going on, man. I know a lot of artists, poets, you know, a different scale all over Jersey, underground, you know, and more. But we definitely gonna tap into all the creatives, you know, and not just the youth. See, we want to tap into the youth. The youth already doing their thing, but we also want to bridge the youth with the elders, the people that been doing this, that got all these connections. And you got people that's in Plainfield. Every time I bump into somebody, I'm giving out a card, getting a card, and I'm getting connections. And I'm just like, I'm old now, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to meet the other kids coming up. So I don't mind being the gap, you know, and we should definitely link and do some stuff. I got to
make sure that I give you an invite. So at Queen City,
invite me everything,
Roasters,
man.
It's a coffee shop. They have a open mic.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a lot of creatives there. Josh, Jay Hentrell's his name. He puts it together.
Absolutely.
People from all over come to perform. So I went there and I said, oh, first time I'm there, and I'm like,
it's kind of lit.
It's lit. It's a whole community.
I seen the shop, but I didn't know they had something going on. So I seen the shop pop up.
Yeah, like, they open up the other side.
Okay.
They build the stage, and it's just like that whole community. And it's just like you watching them.
Check that out.
I'm talking to people from other towns, and they like, oh, we love coming here, but they're like, we outgrowing this spot now. I'm like, oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, let's do it. So look, we gonna wrap it up. So we gonna get on the